Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside North Cape, Convoy Battles in the Arctic, 1942 to 1945. This is a game designed by Eric Harvey and was published in Strategy and Tactics magazine number 292, the May-June of 2015 issue. And as you can see, I don't have the magazine here. I've since misplaced it, but I do have the game. I tend to take my games out, put them in other storage methods, and then the game magazines tend to go off on their own sometimes and hide from me. But the game is what we're here to look at and talk about today. So we'll get right into that. And to tell you what the game is about, it says North Cape Convoy Battles in the Arctic, 1942 to 1945, is a simulation of the convoy battles fought in the Barents Sea during World War II. The game is played in several scenarios, each of which simulates one of the historical convoy battles in the Arctic. Each side must attempt to find and locate enemy positions and complete their missions. The objective in the game for the German player is to sink the largest number of enemy merchant ships possible. For the Allied player, the objective of the game is to bring the greatest number of merchant ships to the Soviet Union. Each game turn represents 4 hours, the hexes are 12 miles across, and the individuals two groups of ships are the counters in the game. You get a 22 by 34 inch map, a counter sheet, and a 14-page North Cape rulebook. It is rated high on the solitaire playability scale, and it is a medium complexity game for 2 players, and the playing time is 4 to 15 hours. So definitely a lot of game to play in this magazine game. So let's take a look and see what you get. We get our rulebook, counter sheet, and our map. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And we'll take a look at the map that comes with the game. The Barents Sea, North Cape area, you're going to be transiting British forces across the Barents Sea to bring much needed supplies to the Soviet Union in either Murmansk or Archangel. The only terrain features you're going to need to contend with on the map, aside from the land area, are the ice pack edge and the iceberg zones. The summer ice pack edge is this white line at the very top. The iceberg zone extends a little further, a couple hexes down from that. The winter ice pack edge, however, really inhibits your movement. As you can see, it moves from the top left and all the way down here to the bottom right. And again, another 2 to 3 hex extension out for the iceberg zone that really limits your movement. So depending on the scenario, the time of year, the season, you'll either have a lot of room to maneuver or you'll be going through a very narrow channel. So either opposed or solitaire, this looks like it's going to be pretty fun to play. On the left-hand side, we have 5 group holding boxes. Along the bottom, we have our turn track, which goes to 42 turns. Then we have our season and weather tracks, and then the victory point track to the far right, which goes up to 100 points. And we'll take a look at the counter sheet that comes with the game. German forces on the left, British forces on the right. Both come with surface and subsurface forces. Plenty of admin counters, and then here down in the middle, we have U.S. forces as well. And we'll take a look at the rules. It is a 14-page rulebook. The table of contents is listed on the top left side. Start off with our introduction, the abbreviations used in the game, and the explanation of those abbreviations. We list out the game components and explanation of how to read the counters. We get into the sequence of play, weather phase, determine weather effects on range, purchasing decoys, and then conduct missions phase, and then the end turn phase are the phases in the game. Setup and stacking is explained to you, the airbase limitations, holding boxes, how to perform missions, and the types of missions that you have in the game, weather effects on air range, range limitations, reconnaissance attempts, patrol interception and its procedure, submarines and how those are handled in the game, infiltration table at the bottom right corner, submarine attacks, ASW attack table, and then we get into combat. Different types of combat, including air-to-air combat, base anti-aircraft, air-to-surface combat, surface-to-surface combat, torpedo combat, and then winning the game is on page 10. Then there are some optional rules here on page 10. U-boat commander aces, Arctic ice pack growlers, HFDF detection, storm dispersion, AA artillery of merchants in convoy, and then the solitaire play. There is a solitaire system that is in place for this game. Then we have submarine contact, victory determination, and then when there is a campaign game, as well as a couple of other counters that you can use optionally. Then we get into our scenarios. There are 3 scenarios that come with the game, including a campaign scenario of 42 turns, and then we are at the back of the rulebook. And that is a look at everything you get inside of North Cape, Convoy Battles in the Arctic, 1942 to 1945, a game designed by Eric Harvey and published in Strategy and Tactics magazine issue number 292 from May-June of 2015. It's no secret how I feel about magazine games. I love them warts and all. with their issues that they may have. Sometimes you find some really interesting topics and you find some gems. I've heard good things about this. I've heard good marks on this one. So I'm curious to try it out. I've also not played a lot of naval games. So this is an area that I'd like to explore a little more. And with 4 to 15 hours of projected game time, there's a lot to look at. And there's 3 different scenarios, including the campaign game, 42 turns. So I think it's worth getting hold of a copy if this is a subject that interests you. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. You have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.